Slowly but surely. Hey, Extreme, how's it going? Hey, Booba. Morning. For my impressions of Black Cat, I mean, I don't think she needs to top Omega Sentinel because she's a skill champion and Omega's a tech, and I feel like they have entirely different uses. But I'm actually personally more excited about Black Cat than Omega Sentinel. She feels more up my alley as far as what I look for in a champion. She looks really, really fun to play. I think if I didn't have Nimrod, I would feel like Omega Sentinel added more to my roster. But I don't know, she just doesn't feel that important to me at the moment. I think the other reason that I'm not really worrying about Omega Sentinel is that I'm not going to get her for a long time. Like, minimum 4 months, right? Which is probably true for Black Cat too, but it's just why I'm not really worrying about either. I am considering maybe doing the early access for Scorpion and Black Cat together. Because I do not need another tech champion. I really, really do not need another tech champion right now, so I didn't go for the last ones. But skill and science, I could really use some interesting new high prestige options, depending on what 7-4 throws at me when I finally finish it. Not at all extreme, for two reasons. One, a lot of opponents bleed. Archangel is still usable. And it's not like all non-mutant, or it's not like there are no non-mutants that aren't her that are immune to incinerate, right? So it's not like Omega Sentinel deals unavoidable damage either. Additionally, Black Cat follows the modern. That's really two 6-star Carnages. It's been a while since I've seen that. Excuse me. Black Cat follows the more modern take on skill champions where, yeah, they do bleed damage, but they also have great crit stats. And so that allows you to cut through armor and that kind of thing and still do decent damage by playing them properly, even if they don't bleed. Like, Black Panther does a lot more than you might think he does, as does Jabari, simply through their other stats. This month is just me biding my time in EQ until spring cleaning, so I have a better idea. Yeah, I understand. That is why I'm here. Because I could do EQ, but surf or no, just some of my cosmics are taken up in AQ, and so I didn't really feel like it today. I'll probably finish that off tomorrow morning. But I didn't feel like heading back into 7.4 either. And I don't think I have a 4-star anti-venom, so here we are, nice and chill. Chaos. Hey, Sim. Yeah, I understand. We are done with our war, thankfully, but yeah, I get it. You finished 7.4 yesterday. Need to awaken Kitty. I'll use my mutant gem instead of romance. Fair enough. I buy that, Stover. You happy with the rest of what you pulled? And when you say caved, does that mean that you got the offer? Warlock or Invisible Woman on defense? Uh, I think still Warlock, because he has the tactic, but I don't know, unless it's too many Corvus charges and it's difficult to hide him. Because it's not like you want to put him on his usual node. I should pay attention when I'm playing Hawkeye. Like, Warlock's the better defender in a vacuum, especially with the tactic. An Invisible Woman is pretty useless, but at the same time, like, neither of them is gonna get a kill. But yeah, Warlock has hard counters. Invisible Woman is not just free willpower, but if you practice her properly, you can use step backs on her, and then there's literally nothing she can do to you. Dang it, it's just too long for me to have cleansed the miss. Annoying. Yeah, I agree, Slate. Nexus-wise, no, but I did Duke Mojo. Nice. Got the offer. 3-4 gem was Mystic, so Doom is out of the way. Makes sense, Stover. Sounds like a good day. Congrats, man. Yeah, Sarah Ghost. I do that quite a bit. I was doing that against Black Cat a lot yesterday when I was taking her with Jabari. Didn't go for it here because for Mysterio you need to go all the way to the special 2 for that to happen. And by the time the opponent has gained 2 bars of power, in most fights I already want to be at 5 with her. It's just kind of the normal way that I play her. But yeah, that is otherwise a great shout. That's really tough, Slay. Um, I think I think the Dragon Man for similar reasons, but don't like it. Well, I really overreacted to that one. Okay. Rank 3 Cersei. Question is, do I awaken her, wait for Null or Angela? Well, only wait for Angela if you're willing to give her all those SIGs. And if the prestige isn't an issue for you in giving her all of those SIGs. As for Null, that's a personal call. I care more about Cersei on my roster, but Null is quite good. Actually did not want to trigger that last perfect block because I wanted to throw the special one first. Definitely unnecessary for this fight, but we're back into practice mode with Arena. Vision doesn't need max sig per se, but like he scales pretty well and he benefits a lot. Like it's just the higher his sig, the more he can chain specials together, and it really improves his power control. But you said sig 45, that's already more than the half the total benefit. Already significant. Mathematically, I'm not really sure. um, where like if there are any inflection points on playing him a certain way using Tech Collar, Petrify. I haven't looked into any of that on what SIG you need him at to avoid the opponent getting bars of power for how long. Because that would be an interesting number to have, but I don't. Usually only use Nimrod against mutants. Today I used him against the shared node in the middle. Ebb and Flow, Intercept, Mysterio. Yeah. Like, you want to still parry a bunch. I would probably stay in Titan on purpose. But yeah, that's not a quick fight. Mysterio tends to be annoying. Yeah, it's up to you, Stover, as to... Whoops. As to whether you want to put any resources in him. I think if you already have him at rank 3, then that's a lot of the necessary information, so I would just be testing him from there. And trying to figure out, like, okay, does it feel like he needs just a little bit more power, or is this enough? Yeah, I know, Sarah Ghost. I know exactly what you mean. You really miss the extra damage. 2 is what I mean. Also miss the extra damage. Cersei Sig matter for defense? Not really. Like if somebody is countering her poorly, then it matters a lot. Otherwise it doesn't matter at all. One special two, nuked him down. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I feel like if you want Nimrod to be generally applicable, then you really want him at high sig. Like, I stand by him being worth ranking at low sig, but... Or low sig or unduped, but he's worth ranking basically as a, like, prowess and regen counter at that point. He's not the generically strong champion that he is otherwise. Yeah, definitely important stuff. Nimrod 34. Oh, yeah. Yeah, tech kind of sneakily turned into a sig-hungry class under our noses, didn't it? Hey, Executioner. How's it going? So far, you love Anti-Venom. Gonna rank 3, next level up for sure. Nice. Congrats. Oh, that's terrible. Alright. No special ones. We don't want the stun. Eh, except at this point, probably worth it. Yep. I'm close to committing my generic gem and stones to him if I pull him. Gotcha. Yeah, Overseer makes sense. He caught me. Thought he was blocking, but he wasn't. Okay. Dang it. Got caught off track. Fight would have been way easier if my frigging parries were working. Don't do it. He did it. That's fine. If even blocks were working, that would have gone better. But also, what did I say last week about not really knowing how many hit specials are until you fight Thing for the first time? Really hoping spring cleaning changes the dynamics of who you're planning to give your X7 rewards to in some way. There's a decent list, and getting one would be amazing. That's cool, man. Yeah, I'm curious what it's going to be, but I'm very disappointed that the 30-day mark seems to mean that spring cleaning will land exactly as the 7.4 offer goes up in price. So I'm kind of accelerating my grind. That's really crappy of them. Well, this is a terrible matchup. Let's go. Oh, that was close. One more crit that would have done it. Yeah, anti-venom's solid. I don't know that I would call just blocking on blockable specials a shutdown, but he's good. Nice little pre-final exams gift to myself. Fair enough. I cannot wait for the Black Panther buff. I know it's been over a year now. We haven't heard anything, so it's not that likely to be soon, but I just... Finish? Alright. I'm trying to think through this as to how much time I have. That means I basically have just short of 2 weeks. I guess I'm just not processing things hit boxes. I was getting hit by him quite a bit. That's how. But it basically means I have 2 weeks, 12 days to pick up 3,000 units. That seems doable. Gonna be doing a lot of auto fighting. One second. Okay, I'm back. Fine, just do it. This is how hard it is to get Venom to throw his special too? What the heck is going on? I hate you. Hey, Steve, how's it going? Really not enjoying. During my Hyperion grind, I remember somebody was saying it's like they'd thrown the map 8 AI into Arena, and God, it really kind of feels like that. Except in Arena, when they leave themselves open like that, not only do they sometimes hit you, sometimes they parry you. It just isn't fun. I mean, that was moderately fun, but that's an exception. I want to rank so many. Yeah, I know what you mean, Extreme. It's one I need to practice myself. You're saying that there's a lot of material in the textbook that wasn't covered in class, Steve? If so, are you sure it's on the test? Or are you just saying, regardless of whether it's on the test, you wish it had been covered? Sometimes teachers do have a good reason for skipping things in textbooks because they've just decided that the scope of the class doesn't line up perfectly with the textbook that was available to use. But if it's something they're testing you on and they didn't teach you, then yeah, that's... It's in the syllabus. Okay, yeah. Probably should have been covered then. I'm covering it by myself, just googling. Yeah, that's unfortunate, man. Sorry. Well, I'm not sure where you're going to school, but that does sound like something to bring up in feedback. Looking up. I cannot wait until I can actually dex without accidentally parrying again. I miss those days so much. I also wish Unawakened 4 wasn't so awful. There we go. Not quite. That's fine. That's not where I thought the hitbox was on that. Wow. Hey, Kabir, how's it going? Any predictions? Not really, honestly. I think the 6-star will go a bit lower than Hyperion, so I don't know, somewhere in the 60 million, 55 million range, but I think the 5-star will go much higher given the synergy. Hey, Jack. Or Jackson, sorry. Question. Rank 4 Sasquatch, boss, Spidey and Human Torch band. Who else can solo him? Um, Probably Void, although that's going to be a difficult fight. My personal favorite would be She-Hulk, but again, not the easiest fight in the world. She can definitely solo. Um, because her special one is going to control his Wrath of Tanarak stacks because it applies exhaustion. And then she has the slow to deal with the global. That's going to be one of your best possible tools. Um, see, Enervate also stops it, which means you could potentially use Spider Gwen. Not going to be the easiest thing in the world. Um, Sorcerer Supreme would be really difficult. I mean, you would absolutely have to be running Max Despair, and Willpower would still likely be an issue unless you stay really on top of things, but that is possible. I feel like those are the only realistic options. Like, it is technically possible with Silver Centurion, but you would need to be super on top of your heavy counters, and that sounds very difficult. Realistically, Shang-Chi's not going to do it. Oh, you know what? Sigil Witch. Sigil Witch could do it. There are obstacles to that fight, but she builds up to a couple big special threes, gets all the Mystic Dispersion from the armors, and nullifies a bunch of adaptive boosts. That's going to cut through him pretty quickly. I'm looking through. Those are the main ones. Because I'm assuming that we're supposed to assume 5 out of 5 Mystic Dispersion. If there's no Mystic Dispersion, then Nimrod can do it. But I wouldn't recommend that. Really would not recommend. You know, with the new tactic, Hawkeye can probably do it pretty well too. Maybe Diablo. That could be a little tricky, but if you can maintain the big poisons off the special 3, he's tanky enough. Okay, that concludes my overview. Hopefully that was helpful. Yeah, I don't think I'd do Yellow Jacket meta. Because the Petrify isn't going to reverse his healing, since his healing turns off when it would be reversed. I mean, you are going to blunt it just by having those charges. So that definitely helps. And like the power stings would do good work, but they also feed willpower, and that's a really beefy opponent. It's probably possible, but that doesn't sound excuse me, that doesn't sound fun. Morning, Double B. My BG was talking about the benefits of ranking up Red Guardian in light of a potential future buff to discuss or to deal with Mystic Dispersion. What I thought he needed, I don't feel super qualified on this because I've never played Red Guardian to a really high level. Um, Good lord. I hate when they do that so much. Like, oh, you're playing Ghost? It would be really annoying if I just dashed back 7 times in a row at the start of the fight, wouldn't it? Sorry. Small rant. Um, but I think the core things are he needs he needs longer trauma. Because right now it is just too difficult to keep it up. You can tell the original intent of his kit was that it wasn't going to be impossible to keep it up because it has a max stack limit. The only way that makes sense is if you're supposed to be able to keep it up for a long time, which means that that value was wrong. Like something was missed there. So that needs to be fixed, and or he needs to have other ways of pausing or extending or refreshing it. Um, like if trauma was automatically paused during his and the opponent's specials, instantly way better. Um, and then the other big thing that people complain about is the fact that he just gets worse and worse as the fight goes on, and that's not a great mechanic. Like there's almost no other champions that work that way where they have an anti-ramp. The only one that even comes close is Hood. And he has enough other utility that's not tied to it that it doesn't really feel the same to me. So I think they need to do something about that. He can't just get worse and worse and worse as the fight goes on. Those are the biggest things. But I'm also not too worried because I'm very confident that he was the the postponed buff due to political events. And so I think we'll be seeing him soon. And I mean, the fact that it was postponed tells me they already know what they wanted to do. Hey, Snoops. Yeah, Jackson. I was trying to just go through literally everyone who could do it. Some of those fights I now want to see now. Like if we see a Sasquatch boss on our next off-season war, I may call dibs on it with Hawkeye with the tactic. Sounds pretty fun. Really enjoying Joe, actually. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I'm just having a good time. I still hate that he basically can't parry if you want to play him properly, but results are solid. That business casual or Crocs and socks casual? Today, definitely more Crocs and socks. The longest time I thought increasing the trauma duration would be enough, but as an alternative, what if gaining durability refreshed his personal debuffs? Refreshed might be. I don't know. I don't think that that's quite enough. And maybe something in between the two. Like there's so much design space they've explored with science champions and how they deal with their debuffs since Red Guardian came out that I'm sure Kabam had enough ideas floating around. They just needed to implement them and test them. I'm optimistic for his buff. I just hope we get it soon, both for our sakes and because it coming out hopefully means that certain things are better in the world. For safeguard meta, yay or nay? See, my first thought, KT, is, hey, look, a Killmonger target, but I'm trying to be a little bit more generic than that. Because Odin is blunted. He's my first thought for True Strike other than Killmonger. Mole Man still exists. Tigra still exists. That's actually not the worst fight. He's still a rank 4, though, and he has one of the highest health pools in the game. I would definitely be tempted to at least try it. How's it going, man? Yeah, like, you wouldn't use Nebula. Use Hawkeye. I find myself thinking about Hawkeye a lot more these days. Really hope I get a good Hawkeye lane in this next war. Yeah, he's just chunky. Toad food. You're not wrong, Meta. Whoops. See what you did making me laugh? You're not wrong, but I imagine that's not a super problem, or a super common problem. That one was on me, but laughing. Alright. Under 20 hits? Yeah, probably not. Tigra would be on the list, for sure. But that means they're using Tigra on him and not on somebody else, which, in my experience, is itself a win. Because anyone who knows how to use Tigra, and who is able to bring them in their deck, like, that's a matchup they likely win unless they mess up. Hey, true potential. Tiger, Archangel, Human Torch, permaban. Yeah? You're comfortable not banning any defenders. I think that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think I prefer Safeguard to Masochism. We'll see how this feels. Hey, Val, how's it going? Do that? Oh, wait, we do. Right? Maybe this. Look at her with her light intercepts. Eating. Doing some prep for my Chinese oral on Wednesday. First exam of the 2-month gauntlet. Nice. Good luck, man. I take it that means you are better prepared than Ethan Hawke. I know that's kind of a low blow. Dude was doing his best. Baby niece comes home tomorrow. You're excited? That's awesome, True Potential. That's really cool. Oh, don't do this. Really? Like, so temperamental lately. 1 second. Be right back. Alright, I'm back. And yeah, it was pretty rough. Like, I think I know about 3 words of Mandarin, but like I've heard it enough that it still made me twitch. Yes, Jackson. The poison as an effect just natively reduces healing. Diablo plus Kingpin sounds pretty good. Good luck with the fight. Sounds cool. Yeah, fell. I've heard that a lot. I also heard that Vincent D'Onofrio, like his pronunciation of the individual syllables and stuff was great. It just sounded stilted because he didn't have any flow from word to word. Yeah, Sarah Ghost. I think Hawkeye is going to get some real use this season. He saw at least some use last season. The war we lost to Salty, like we played very poorly that war and we gave them room to win, but they absolutely earned the win in part because like they clutched their last few fights with Hawkeye. They had one guy taking like really difficult fights that we'd never seen a Hawkeye used for before, and he just cleared all of them. It was, if it hadn't been so heartbreaking at the time, it would have been really cool to watch. I was impressed. Yeah, that makes sense, Jackson. Although it's important to note that Nova Flames are not passive incinerates. They're something different, and so that's why they have different effects. Anything that says incinerate effects shouldn't like trigger off of Novas, but they will trigger off of like Silver Centurion's passive incinerate. I get where you're coming from. Stuff gets weird. Oh, were you using Hawkeye today in War Meta? Please be enough of a power sting. Yes. All right. Ultron buff has been amazing for 7.4. Yeah, that's what I've heard. I just muted for my sneeze and then said excuse me anyway. I don't know why I did that. Yeah, that makes sense, Phil. I know there's more of that, obviously, in a tonal language, but, you know, some of that is just true for all languages, right? I went to a like coffee tasting the other day, where the guy putting it on was from Honduras, which obviously sounds, you know, his Spanish sounds different than the Mexican that I grew up surrounded by, sounds different than the Venezuelan Spanish that my girlfriend in high school spoke, sounds different than some of the Puerto Ricans that I know sound like they all have different vowels, different tones, but the interesting thing was actually the inverse, where because his English was very good, but he apologized before he even started, saying like, you know, it's not going to be great or whatever. But he seemed to have no trouble following what 90% of us were saying. But then there was this one guy with like a very clear Western Pennsylvania, more rural accent, and the look of utter despair on his face on how he was very clearly having a lot of trouble following what this guy was saying. It just kind of reminded me of the inverse. Is it fair to say Hawkeye needs to be awakened? Yes. Um, I I think it's fair to say Hawkeye needs to be awakened. Almost period. Because I mean, you just really want access to those guaranteed crits, and in most fights, going to the special three is just it's just not that feasible. I really think that his realistic rotations involve the special one and the special two, and then to do any real damage, you need the sig. Do I think Mojo at sig 25 is good enough for attack? I do. However, using Mojo on attack in general, I think you need to be quite careful because a boy is squishy if you play him wrong. But as far as like, is that sig enough? Yes. Hey Aiden, how's it going? Sounds like me trying to figure out what people are saying when I visit my relatives in Australia. That checks out. Like I speak English. Does that qualify as English? Morning, Cyber. Just open your last 6-star featured, pulled Icarus. Yeah, I do think he's good. Um, he's a bit niche. Like the places where you actively want to use him over other cosmics are fairly few. Um, but despite that, like I think that his floor is just a solid cosmic champion that can throw a lot of specials. And that's in my opinion that's worth something. Yeah, the Western Pennsylvania accent is it sure is something. I was not expecting that. Forgot about the Korg synergy. And then my block just didn't work. But that's MCOC these days, isn't it? Interesting, Sarah Ghost. Not sure where you're going with that, but sounds interesting in a very literal sense of the word. Banks gotta decide to awaken Hawkeye, Cersei, or possibly Null one day. I know Cersei and Hawkeye meet. I just feel Cersei's better champ. I think that's probably true. In a certain sense, but also like Cersei is a really reliable brawler with some interesting niche utility. Hawkeye, given that he has power control and slow, is a really broadly applicable utility. And so I think he actually might add more to more rosters. I also think he probably needs it more than Cersei does. I was trying to land the lights, but I was too far away. Okay, that was BS. My light should have landed. Hitbox drugs. You're tired. Calling it at 45 million. Good luck, man. That does sound like a squeak by score if it gets it. Yeah, but I'm hoping for you. Closer to Philly than Pittsburgh, so don't have that signature Yinzer accent. Yeah, but Philly is its own thing. Hawkeye has very good synergy options, agreed. God, I don't. That is why Nova sucks. You actually try and do the thing with him, and what happens? Single light attack can throw you. The idea of moving to Michigan rather than Cali is slowly growing on me. See that? What on earth was that? It just stopped responding in the middle of my combo. If any of you Pennsylvania natives know where Pottsville is. Now I'm curious. I am not a native. Oh, where the Yingling Brewery is. Okay. About halfway in between Harrisburg and Scranton. Okay, that makes sense in my. Odin away from the unit offer. Yep. But if Kabam's not giving us any additional clearance on spring cleaning, and I have to accept that spring cleaning may come immediately as the offer goes up in price, then I'm not going to be waiting on Odin's because I am not going to drop $100 immediately before it actually gives me something. That is not how I roll. I'm trying to get to 10k before then. Yeah, that was a pretty bad mispronunciation. Double P, that's funny. Like an hour away from you to the south. Cool. Future prospects in Michigan seem better. I mean, the growth may be better, but that also, I don't know, man. I'm sure you'll find spots in both. I'm not sure I would try and do the whole buy low, sell high thing on your life. I would just go where you feel like you're going to be happier. Would I invest SIGs into Hawkeye? Definitely not. Because, like, it's technically fixed now, but if we look at the scaling, it's just nothing. Like, SIG 20 is a good amount more than SIG 1, but beyond that, it's almost flat, really dark. Yeah, Michigan's a great school for sure. Barely true potential. I was into Age of Empires at the part of my gaming where I had no idea what I was doing, and for the most part, I cheated the heck out of it. So like I'm familiar with the game, but only in like the loose sense until I'm like, you know what? I'm not having fun actually trying to win. It's time for me to bring in some rocket cars. So yeah, very, very loosely. Hawkeye does not have a shrug mechanic, no cyber. I mean, Age of Empires, as little as I truly engaged with it, is what turned me on to strategy in general. So then when I went on to play like Total War games or Civilization or Battle for Middle Earth, I'd say that came from there, but I was more into those than I ever was into Age of Empires. Do I play any console games? I don't have a console. When I was in high school, so already pretty late, my brother did convince my parents to get an Xbox, and so that's kind of where I'm coming from. So, I mean, that's where I played, for the most part, series I was already into. Like some of my Mass Effect and Dragon Age, I got on that. Soul Calibur, I played there, but I already liked Soul Calibur because I'd played earlier versions at my friends' houses. We did play a bit of, was it Forza 2 was the one that came free with that? Oh, I played a lot of Marvel Ultimate Alliance back when that was a thing. That game slapped. That got me into Marvel in a number of ways. I would rank up Chavez for defense. I think she's good in Battlegrounds as well, and with even a small buff, I think I'd really like playing her. Oh, and of course there was Halo. My brother and I played Halo a lot together. Yeah, I didn't play. We covered this on an earlier stream. I didn't play Pokemon like the actual games until college when I went back and played Fire Red and Emerald in a totally legal and legit fashion. Um, but I did at a friend's house play Pokemon Stadium quite a bit when I was growing up. Loved that game. I do love me some board games, meta. Hey, buddy, how's it going? There he is. So few synergies. Really nice if that actually did something. I definitely have other strange synergies, though. Yeah, okay, we can do that. Do I think Terrax is good offensively? I do, yeah. I've seen him used a few times, and I definitely think that it worked well. Well, this fight sucks. Okay. God, look at how short those power gains are. This is why Hype needs a SIG. The battleship opening went well. Got 1725 for 800,000. So above the average, so I'm happy. Terrax doesn't necessarily need high sig. I think the important thing is starting with that bar of power to get him rolling. But I think he definitely does benefit. Because being able to start at almost 2 bars gives you a lot more flexibility in his playstyle. You're at 8K. Nice, man. Yeah, I think this is probably the only streaming I'm going to do today, and I won't go too much longer since we're almost at 4 million. I'm traveling this week. I probably will be streaming throughout the week, but I tend to edit videos on one computer and stream on another one. Um, and I don't want to take both of them with me, so I'm going to try and get my videos set up and scheduled today, which means that I'll need to do that later. There she is. Does that work? Nope. We still have this. Yeah, that works. Oh, I just processed that, buddy. 746. So does that mean, are you gonna grab an Odin to take yourself over the top? Take care, Fel. Have a good one. Something of a DLL myself in Pokemon. That's you really do have to wonder what it would break to let her, or to remove the stacks on her abilities. She'd still be so one-dimensional. Like, I still think she would need a buff. But mutants don't really have a way to lengthen their buffs. Or their debuffs. Like, there's just not a lot there. Like, skill champions get a lot of bonuses to bleed damage. And Cosmics and skill champions... Like, Cosmics have access to Captain America and the Reed synergy for extending buffs. Skill champions have access to the Reed synergy, but mutants don't. So, like, I don't know. What's the risk? Think you're gonna bite the bullet and get Odin. Good luck with the opening, man. I really I understand. I'm trying to avoid that, just so that if I spend any, I can line it up with spring cleaning, but yeah, I want to have this done by then if I can. I'm going to be auto-fighting lower difficulties of AQ a bunch. No, that's not what I meant. That, yeah. I should have just parried. I already removed the rod. Don't need to do anything special against this. Should have been an easy solo Diablo versus Sasquatch after my initial special 3, special 1, special 2. He only had 12% left. So, can I ask Jackson why you didn't special 1 a couple times before heading there? Because I'm assuming you used the null pre-fight, right? Then I lost my poison with all of the possible unstoppables in the world. Fair enough. I meant EQ, true potential. But that's interesting. I'm glad it went fairly well, but yeah, did you not build vials? jerk. Message retracted, message retracted. Not yet, Aiden. I do plan to. I just have so much to auto fight. Yeah, but Jackson, I'm asking about using the special ones before the special 3, not after. Because if you use the null pre-fight, which you must have if you were able to throw any specials before you lost the big poisons, even with 3 out of 5 MD, like, if you use the null pre-fight, you start with 4 vials, right? But the max is 8. So you want to throw some special ones before you get there so that you have all those vials. I think the way I would play that fight is I would actually spend the time before he goes into Wrath of Tanarak the first time. Oh, okay, you did have 8. Okay, good. Because the next thing I was going to say is I don't know if Wrath had happened before you threw the special 3, but I would have waited for it to trigger. And then basically, as soon as Wrath is done, throw your special 3. Okay, we just need a couple more of these. Thought I had a good Dragon Man synergy. No, not really. Oh well. Well, let's just autofill. I don't care from here. But that's cool. I'm glad that worked out otherwise. Sounds like a really solid fight. And I'm assuming, given off-season, you weren't boosting either. Your 6-star Void is only 2 SIGs away from SIG 200. Well, don't open any basic crystals until you get there. It's scaring me, man. I really despise Vulture. I promise has nothing to do with the fact that I'm not very good at choppings. Oh, okay, you did boost a little bit. Okay, but yeah, that still sounds like a really solid model. Would be the worst cyber, but that's also why I tend to stop at 180 until I have the 20 stones. Terribly scared of that. Why does Green Goblin's glider make the same sounds that Ghost Rider's chains do? Cannot answer you that, but it probably is a reused asset. Put 109 SIGs on Spider-Man 2099, first rank for science. Next day. Yeah, Stover, there's just good champions in this game. At some point, you just have to call it. It'll be okay. Did not dash back during that. Isn't that supposed to max out at a 75% chance? Yeah. 75% chance max. 15% per force field to auto block the opponent's special attack. So clearly he had enough force field charges to be at the max. But for that second one, Crossbones was at what? Like 7, 8 Furies? So he should have been reducing it by 100. I suppose maybe it works so that it's like, even though Crossbones was at 5 Furies, reducing it by 100% if he had 5 force field charges, then no, that still should have been like additive. That should have been 0 the first time. The second time, maybe, because if he had 5, he had 8 force field charges for 15% each. But no, then I still had more Furies. I can come up with ways for, going below the 75% and then it coming back above that, but it doesn't make any sense. I really don't think he should have auto blocked either of those. Reminds me of the shenanigans with Captain Falcon when he was in AQ or EQ. Did it again. Something is up with auto blocking lately. Put 109 SIGs into Miguel. Oh, wait, I already read that one. So glad to be done with features. Waiting to get the extra 5k shards. Yeah, I understand that. They're still worth it to me, though. But that's an account by account decision for sure. I'm just gonna accept Null doesn't want to be on my account. Yeah, shit. Like me with Nick Fury. Still no 6-star, and with the 5-star, we were reaching statistically pretty funny levels of missing him with all of the 5-star dual class crystals I opened trying to get him. You mind throwing? Thank you. Oh, didn't mean to go to next series. Let's pick up those milestones. I definitely opened too many of those boost crystals before the end of the war season. Kind of sad to lose some of them right now. Is there anything I have to open? Not really. Like those I'm going to open on a Monday. I can do a few of these. Hey, a 4-star. I'll take it. Thanks for the ISO. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and call this one. Thanks everybody so much for hanging out. I will probably see you tomorrow. But enjoy the weekend. Let me check real quick to see if anybody is currently streaming. Not that I can see. But enjoy your Sunday, and I'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching, everyone.